Hello, everyone. This is IS 301 at Eastern New Mexico University. Hello. Um, Everything in computing comes in cycles. We think something's really new and innovative, and wow, we've never done things this way before. And the funny thing is, we always fall into the trap of doing things the way they've been done before. When computers really started to become interesting to more people, there was a new paradigm. And, there really wasn't a new paradigm. We just saw how computers were basically being used in business. And we just expanded that, and people had to kind of adjust themselves to the business way of doing things. The original purpose of computers, for the most part, was as a filing clerk. And I remember doing doing computer work for really old organizations. The Cooperative Extension Service, for instance, they used to be called the county agent. If you were a farmer, you knew your county agent because you had to go to them to get federal aid, to get to get information. The government provided a lot of free information to farmers and to, frankly, their wives, and they would keep these huge walls of filing cabinets full of all this information. And a big part of what your county agent did was he was basically he or she was basically a person that could go and get you that information quickly, kind of a precursor to the internet. And so you'd have a filing cabinet. In the filing cabinet, you have drawers, and the drawers would be full of files, and each one of these files would contain a lot of documents, and you'd have a filing system that you would put together. And that's really the original database, was doing things that way. When we first came with databases, that was the original database. It was just called a flat file database, and database was in quotes because it was just a filing structure, and you would file all this stuff. We're now learning that this is still a very powerful metaphor for taking care of things. The newest things, Hadoop and things like that, are really just filing systems that have some new twists added to it that high-speed networking allow us to do. You can compare them exactly to some branch office. That's really what Hadoop is kind of based on. The fact that you have computing power. In the old days, a local person who would be able to do the filing and the collating and being able to say, oh, I've got some associated information here that might be useful to you too. That's called local computing, or that's a good analog to it. And that's a lot of what Hadoop is. The fact that you have a distributed filing system, you don't have to worry about losing the information because you've distributed it far and wide. And because of fast networks, that's not even a problem anymore. It used to be because of slow networks, we would cache things and throw them out. Now, because of fast ones, we still throw things out because you can get to them. If your local Hadoop installation doesn't have the information that you need, it's usually not a problem to go, hey, where's this piece of information? 2 or 3 things will come back and say, oh, I've got a copy of it. And they go, send it to me. Cool. And it's done. Kind of like the old interlibrary loan system. I'm dating myself. I know you guys are saying, we don't understand what you're talking about, Mr. Nemro. It's like, yeah, I know. Because I'm just telling you that what we do today, you might say, wow, this is amazing. This has changed the world. And you go, it's sped it up. Absolutely. But has it changed it? Probably not. So when you talk about things like Hadoop, and it's a distributed filing system, you guys think of it as a database, and you can think of it that way, but just know that it's mostly a filing system. And you can call it a file system too. You can store the normal things that you'd normally put on a file system, files, executables. It may not be the most efficient thing to do because you want that to be as fast as you can. It's all about perception anymore, about trying to make things appear as instantaneously as you can without having to devote lots and lots of local storage to it. And as networks get faster and faster, that's not a problem. Well, we'll talk about networks more in subsequent chapter coming up, next chapter actually. It's been shortened down a little bit so that we can do a little bit more information on security, which is becoming the new hot and coming field of security. You guys have wonderful reasons why security is a big thing. If you got wrapped up, and almost everybody did, in the Equifax breach, you know that computer security is really important. And anytime you think that it's not important, it comes and snaps you in the butt. But in everything, there's going to be give and take. You can't be totally focused on computer security because that costs too much money and you'll cease to become profitable. In the end, it becomes kind of a balancing act. And are you taking your chances? Yeah. There's always chance in business of failure because you didn't see something coming. Everybody says, oh, that's terrible. You should have seen that coming and accounted for it. And you go, if I would have taken the time to see it coming and accounted for it, I wouldn't have probably had a business in the first place. I would have figured out that what I was trying to do was, and given the current climate, might have even been unprofitable. So sometimes you just have to hang your assets out there and go for it. And then if you get enough money later, you can try to take care of these kinds of things. That was the danger of Equifax and the other place. Hopefully all of you understand that Equifax is basically an information broker. And you say, well, they shouldn't have had that information to be stolen. And you go, that's what they do. That's their job. That's how they make their money. If they didn't take in all this information and then sell it back at convenient times and in convenient packages for certain other businesses, which is what Equifax does. It is not a consumer-based organization. It's made for business. It's made to help a credit card company figure out who to send credit card offers to. You know, the fact that they set up a consumer site, which is exactly where they got breached, was at their consumer feedback site, where people would go, I think I've been treated unfairly on my credit report. Here's my social security number. Here's my, here's all the information that I need so you can look it up so you can figure out if you've rated me unfairly. That's where they got hit. This is not the core of their company at all. The federal government made them start doing that because people thought it was unfair that you couldn't see your rating and that you couldn't affect your rating. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that there's other things in here, and it was outside the core business. Equifax's core business, along with the other credit rating agencies, was to take in a lot of information, rate you on that, your credit rating, and give that over to other businesses that were willing to pay big money to know if you were a good credit risk. And that's simply what it is. So anyway, so just know that that's something you have to consider in business is, hey, you know, you can't sit there and say, oh, you weren't security minded. You go, you know, since when we started out, number one, we didn't have to care. And number two, that's not our core business is to do that. Anyway, so the fact that this happened is like, oh my gosh, you're screwed. And you go, well, it wasn't their core business. Anyway. Hope you have a good time. Thanks for watching the video. Talk to you later. Bye.